Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic week as I am here in Australia. We've had a beautiful sort of summer storm season which has been really very welcome for us because it was a very big dry spell here, so the garden got a good drink. So I hope wherever you are in this planet of ours that the weather's been kind to you and you're starting to sort of feel the effects of winds of change in the air. You know, I know it's a change of seasons for many of us around the world. Here in Australia, we're heading into summer and you, our northern family, are heading into the cooler months of the year, which always denotes a signal of change when the weather starts to change one direction or the other. And it's not so different whether you live in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. It is a time of getting ready for the changes that are about to come as we head towards the end of the year. So it's really apt this week that the card that I drew for the week is the Three of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands is travel over land or surveying your kingdom. Now, I think that's a very interesting choice of words because we don't use the word kingdom so much in our world these days, but it means surveying what is ours. And I think that that's a really important thing as we sort of head towards, as I said, the change of seasons, and also the fact that we're heading towards the end of the year, that we need to really survey and make sure that we've achieved everything that we set out on our wish list at the beginning of the year when we set our intentions for the New Year's resolutions, and we've modified that list a couple of times during the year to suit ourselves at different things, because we are actually heading into the full moon in Taurus. Now, that will happen on the 24th and 25th around the world. So it's a very powerful sort of full moon, if I can talk about that next. It's interesting because each full moon that we have each month has a different sort of flavour or a different energy. I like to look at astrology in the form of like Lego blocks, that we take one block and then we add another block on top of it and another block and another block and another block. And then we blend it all together as if we're baking a cake, and then we end up with the finished product of whatever it is that we're talking about. And I know astrology daunts a lot of people because, yes, it is a science, and yes, it is based on mathematics. And thank goodness for the days of modern technology now where everything's done by computer. When I first started in astrology, everything was done by hand. And let me assure you, the calculations for one chart, and I'm only talking about one chart, took a minimum of 6 hours before you actually got to the fun bit of working with the person. And people used to say, why is it so expensive? Well, that was why it was so expensive, because it was so labour intensive, and you had to be very good at mathematics because you had to not just do your maths once, not twice, not 3 times. I used to do it a minimum of 4 or 5 times to make sure that nothing was wrong, because one little piece could throw the whole chart out and you wouldn't realise it until probably nearly the end, and then you've wasted 35 plus hours on something that you made a mistake with. So I learnt to be meticulous. And I think that sort of ties in nicely with the full moon in Taurus. It is a meticulous sort of full moon. The Taurus energy is about looking at what is important to us. Now, most people sort of tend to associate Taurus with money, and what's mine's mine and what's yours is mine, and that's very true. Taurians like to be a little bit possessive on that score and love money, and their first and foremost love is money, and everything else revolves around money. You're somewhere slot in there somewhere, but their first love is truly money. But it's also about principles, and I think that's one of the areas that gets very overlooked on the Taurian energy, is that they are extremely highly principled people. It's not even so much about the money, it's about the principle. If you do something wrong and you're not big enough person to admit you've done something wrong, no amount of money that you can throw at it will make it right in their eyes. It's the principle. So it's a full moon that's asking us to release or let go of anything that no longer serves us. And it's not always about money, but it can be about the things that are no longer important to us in our lives, the rules that we might have lived by, the regulations that we set for ourselves or our family or our friends, or just generally having a really serious look around our life and saying, okay, it is time to release this, this, and this. So can I teach you this week to sort of put at least 3 things down on your list of things that you're going to release? And they may be things that you were once very strongly believed in, but now no longer suit the new you that you're becoming. And hopefully you have become a new person, that you're constantly evolving, growing and changing and readjusting those boundaries of life. But also it can be a time that if you're heavily in debt, then maybe write down on your list, I want to find a way to release myself from this debt. I'm not trying to not pay it. I'm just looking for other creative ways or suggestions on how to get me free from this debt quicker. So that can be part of your release as well. Now, if we have 3 things on the list for the release, I'd like to also see 3 things on the list that we would like to attract to us. Most people think of just a full moon as just releasing. I like to think of what we let go of. We let go of 3 things. That's made space in our cupboard or our closet or our wardrobe for 3 new things to enter our lives, or 3 new outfits or 3 new jumpers or whatever the case may be. So in this case, it's 3 new things to come into our life. So that takes me on to the full moon candle of the week, which is our full moon candle, of course. So when we've written our list, we read it out aloud, we go to pop it on a coaster, popping the coaster underneath the candle on, not putting it directly on our furniture, so that when we go to light the candle, which we light one wick one day, the other wick the other day, that will give you a much longer burn time. Out of these candles, you'll probably get 50 to 60 hours burn time, but if you burn the alternate wicks, as I suggest, you will get up to 100 hours. Now, that's the full moon candle. But we also, because we're working with the Taurian energy, we need to be working with the earth sign candle as well, the candle that represents the earth sign or Taurus. So again, same principle applies. Write your list, pop your candle underneath on a coaster, never directly on furniture. Please never leave a candle unattended. Always babysit them. Don't put them under fans, air conditioners where children and dogs and cats can knock them over, and don't leave them unattended. We need to burn our candle for approximately 15 minutes to 2 hours per day. 2 hours is probably stretching the friendship a little bit. But if you can do that, the more intensity you can put into setting your intention, your purpose and direction, the better chances you have of bringing it to fruition. So that's why I say minimum of 15 hours, up to 2 hours is good. I like to work with 2 days on the approach of the full moon, 3 days of the full moon energy, and then 2 days on the decline. So it's a 7-day cycle so that we're really cementing together. It's like walking up a hill, getting to the top, and then slowly coming down. So if you work on that principle, you'll find it so much easier to work with. So for those of you that mightn't have enough space to be burning 2 extra large candles, can I suggest to you our travel kit? This week I've made it up of 2 full moon candles and the earth sign in the middle, but you can choose any 3 candles you like out of the 27 in our range so that, you know, you can make up your travel kit to suit yourself. These come in a glass jar with a little glass lid as a stop, you know, instead of blowing your candle out and upsetting the pixies, you can put the lid on it to extinguish the candle. You'll get approximately 15-hour burn time out of each candle. Same principles apply. And they make, you know, great gifts of buying a gift pack and splitting them up into presents for the holiday season ahead. Those of you that don't want to work with a candle and say, but I still want to work with the energy, Amanda, you can pick yourself up one of these melt warmers at the department store or a variety store close to you. Here in Australia at the local supermarket, retailing for around about $15. They do have a little button on the side which is electric, so you can turn it off. You write the same sort of principle. You write your list, put it underneath the melt warmer, putting your melt warmer on a coaster. You can leave this happily going without you babysitting it while you're home or while you're in the office, remembering to turn it off at the end of the day. And how I work with this is take half a teaspoon of the full moon candle wax out of your candle and half a teaspoon of the Taurian wax and put that in your melt warmer so you've got both of them going together. You don't need 2 separate melt warmers. I have 2 separate melt warmers in my home because I have one in my office where I just leave for protection wax that I use when I'm working with my psychic energy. So, okay, so that takes us on to, you know, the next part of the show, which is we're up to our very, very final, and I'm sort of almost sad to say, the end of going around the zodiac and looking for famous singers, male, female, and this week we're up to the final sign of Pisces, and we're up to our singer we're going to be looking at, and it's the one and only Kiki Dee. Now, some people will say, who in the hell is Kiki Dee? I don't know. Most would know the song, the famous duet with Elton John. It was Don't Go Breaking My Heart. Now, I mean, I think that's a song that was back in the 80s, and everybody sort of knew that song, that, you know, you'd sing along to that tune. It was a boppy sort of tune that, you know, they both did a really good job. But Kiki Dee had an extensive singing career long before she teamed up with Elton John. And in some of my research, I found that she was a backup singer for some of the busiest singers in the world. And the first one that came to mind was Dusty Springfield. For those of you that are my age group, you'll know who Dusty Springfield is, out of England, beautiful blonde woman that had some really amazing hits. Well, Kiki Dee was backup singers and spent many times in her career being a backup singer for many, many other people. But that doesn't mean to say that she isn't a powerful singer in her own right, because she certainly is. And I think that, you know, Kiki Dee will go down in history as one of the rare women that sang a very popular song with Elton John, but she's also had very many big hits herself. She's English born. She's had, you know, an amazing, extensive career, but she's always sort of shied away from the limelight a little bit. And that doesn't mean just because you're an entertainer that you need to be flamboyant and out there. She's used her Pisces energy, I think, to subtly improve people's lives, you know, sort of like she permeates in and she sort of gets under your skin and she sort of sits there and keeps that song going round and round and round in your head all the time, as if she's giving you a subtle sort of message that this is what you need to be sort of learning. So, you know, we take our hat off and salute Kiki Dee and, you know, go Google the song, Don't Go Breaking My Heart. It's a nice, catchy tune for today. So we're going to move along with the show now. We're going to take our first call, which is Mary in Erlanger in Kentucky, USA. Are you there, Mary?
I'm here, yes. Yes, I am.
How can I help you tonight, Mary? Do you have a question for me?
Well, I guess, what do you see in the near future for me?
Okay.
With family,
the first thing that Pardon?
I said with family issues, with money.
Okay, all right. It's a very generalised sort of question. I'll just give you what they're giving me in the short space of time that we have here. The first thing that they're showing me, Mary, is that there's many, many changes and doors that have been slamming shut around you in the last 6 months or so. That's a positive sign, sort of saying and indicating that there's massive changes coming up for the future. I feel it's time now that you've got to sort of step out of the family situation a little bit and just sort of take a step back and maybe look at it in the third person, as if you're the person looking into it, involving no emotion. If you can do that, I think then you'll find it a little bit easier to find clarity there and be able to step in and give advice or help or give a helping hand when need be. Instead of feeling compelled to be there, I think you've got to step out and let them sort of, in a sense, paddle their own canoe for a change and just you sort of be there to be sort of guiding. Is there a chance that you are looking to change your job, Mary? Because they're showing me real big question marks over family, over finances and job for you personally, not so much family members, but you.
No, not a job. I'm going for my disability at this point. I was hit by an uninsured motorist and it had massive...
Okay, all right. All right, but that will still show me as like a job, because it's how you gain money. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a change there. They don't show me, well, okay, you're going for disability or you're going for a pension or, you know, it's ready for you to retire. They're just showing me that there was a change there. They were showing me 2 question marks around it, so I can see that now as seeing sort of like how quickly is this going to come through and is it going to be, you know, am I going to gain access to what is rightfully should be mine after being hit by, you know, an uninsured driver? I think the answer to both questions is yes. I'm hoping to see that there's a definite answer here by the end of November, early December. I think this should have already happened, Mary. It seems to have taken too long.
Well, wonderful. That is good.
Yeah, so I'd be surprised if they backdated a little bit.
Okay, I have a daughter. Can you pick up anything on my daughter, Jessica?
Just that I think that she needs to sort of start standing on her own 2 feet. I think she relies on everybody else to fix her world a bit too much. It's now time for her to take her power back and start sort of working on her issues herself. I think that's the important thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you've got to let her do that too. You can't always fix her world, Mum, as much as we want to and we feel obligated to. Sometimes we've got to pull back and let them, become grown-ups in their own right, and that's what I think you need to do. Your turn now is to look after you, Mary. You're the number one in your life now, and that's got to be that way because, your health has got to come first, and we have to sort of make sure that we get you as well as possible so that you can be there for everyone else when need be.
Right. Do you see anything else new coming in for me or happening?
No, I'm not. They've pulled it away from me now, Mary. That was all they were giving me today.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So if I can just slip back a little bit to Kiki D, my producer's put up on my screen a song called I Got the Music in Me. Now, that's another one that you can Google. It was another one of Kiki D's very, very big hits. And, I really liked Kiki D. She's very big in the US, I'm being told. She was pretty big here in Australia too, but I don't think a lot of people sort of knew what her name was. Everybody here just knew it was that female that sang with Elton, whoever she was. She was singing songs about Don't Go Breaking My Heart. And, it was a long time, I think, here in Australia before anybody knew what her name was. So Don't Go, I've Got the Music. Huge song over there in the US of A. So we're going to move on to our next caller, which is Laura in Lansing in Michigan. Are you there, Laura?
Yes, I'm here.
How can I help you this evening, Laura?
Oh, my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm so excited. I could use some advice for a job. I need a job.
Okay, you needed one yesterday, never mind tomorrow. They're showing me that there is a job coming up for you very, very quickly. I wish I could say it was the perfect job, Laura, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it's a fill-in job, it's a temporary job, it's something that'll get you out of this immediate I need money. So take it graciously, and know that then that will give you the opportunity to get something better or something more, long-term or more permanent. Look, I don't think this first job, as I said, I don't think it's anything fantastic. It might be just packing boxes down to the supermarket, but look, it's a job, it's money, and it's always easier, in my opinion, to get a job when you're already employed than it is when you're unemployed. I don't know how that works, but that seems to be the way. But this job I'm seeing will take you through till the end of the year. So it's sort of like it's good hours, it's good money, but it's only a temporary situation. Like they say to you, look, we can give you 6 weeks work or 8 weeks work, and, there won't be a day past that. And you think, well, that's good, that's something. At least I've got something.
Right.
So that you can still continue to look for something. But I feel that there will be something else more permanent, and what you want will come up before the end of this stint. So, look, I'd apply for everything that you think that you're capable of putting your hand up for, do it. And then out of that will come this opportunity, and then there'll be something else behind it. But have you been thinking about moving home, have you? You've been thinking about moving house?
Actually, I was going to ask that question also. Yeah.
Yes, because I just feel that there's a change of residence coming up, but I don't feel it's this year. I'm sort of looking more into the early part of next year. Like, we get you into a permanent job, and then we can sort of address the housing issue and where you want to be then. But, just hang on. Things are changing. Things are going to be so much easier in 2019.
My son's going through a rough patch, and I'd like to know how to help him.
Partly, I think you've got to pull back a bit, Laura. He's got to sort of learn that he can't just depend on you all the time. He's got to start to think for himself. Look, I don't know that there's anything that really he's done wrong. I think it's just been one of those pockets in your life where you've both been sort of on the same parallel road, where everything that could go wrong has gone wrong through nothing that you've really contributed to it. Do you know what I mean? There's times in our lives when I think we just have plain bad luck. And it's one of those sort of pockets. So I think, all you can do is guide him the best way you can, and try and help him not lose his faith in humanity, and that things will get better. And, this is why we have highs and lows in our lives, so that when we get the high patches again, we really appreciate them and enjoy them. So, but he's a good boy. You've got to remember that he's a good, honest young man, and you've brought him up well, and that will always see him through, no matter what life throws at him.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, but, things are certainly on an upward swing, Laura, and it's about time, because I feel that, 2018, I just want to forget it for you. It was just sort of one of those years that we certainly won't look back and sort of go ooh and ah over. We just want to leave it in the past when the end of this year comes for you.
Yeah.
So where's your son's father? Where's he in all of this?
My son?
Your son's father, where's he in all of this? Because your son seems to be sort of angry towards him.
Yeah, he wasn't the best father. So,
but it's sort of like this. No, but he's angry towards him. It's sort of like, I'm not saying he's blaming him for everything, but he's angry towards him, thinking, well, if you were only there to support me, things could have been easier. Like, I never asked much of you.
Right. Okay, that's correct.
Yeah, but that might be something that at the right time you can bring up and have an adult-type conversation with him about, that, we can't always expect people, even though they're meant to be there, to be there. Do you know what I mean? Not everybody's like you and I are. Do you know what I mean? Bring it into a conversation like that. So we're not asking him to forget that his father wasn't there for him or completely forgive him. I don't believe in that total forgiveness. I mean, I believe you forgive to a point that it's no longer affects you physically in your body, that you don't store the emotion. But I don't believe that you should just give them a gold pass and a pardon and say that's okay for treating me like that. I don't agree with that. But I do think we can put it into some sort of perspective, and particularly with your son, to use this as like a life lesson, that, there'll be many people that will come into your life, and people that you will learn to love and rely on and hope that they will be everything you want them to be, but they may not always be. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to use your own judgment, and you've got to learn to rely on yourself, because at the end of the day, the only person you can rely on is yourself. Then you hope you can rely on other people that are important and special to you. And that will be a good lesson for him to understand, because your son's such a sensitive young man. He tends to give everything of himself and everything that he's got to that one person that's really important to him. And then when he gets disappointed, he gets super disappointed. And this is why I want to sort of try and take that edge off it, to help him understand that, he's done nothing wrong, that his father's behaved this way. It's his father's problem. Do you know what I mean? Not his.
Right. Okay. Well, that was absolutely right on. And I thank you so much for your time.
You're very, very welcome. Have a great night. So on next week's show, it's going to be an extra special, exciting show, because next week is actually Simply Tarot's 13th birthday. So I don't know what I'm going to do differently next week, but I'm going to sort of put together something special for the viewers. And it's been a very, very long journey for me with Simply Tarot, and something that I'm extremely proud of. And, it's been my life's work, I suppose, put into a set of tarot cards. So we should make it an extra special show next week. So that'll be good. But it's really interesting when you see all the changes that are going on around the globe. And everybody, no matter which country in the world that you live in, there's some sort of political unrest going on at the moment. So if I can briefly touch on that, the blame for that comes from Uranus in Taurus, that we've spoken about on the show many, many times. Pluto in Capricorn, that's been there for, 8 or 10 years or so now, and going to be there till 2022, but also joined by Saturn, the planet of discipline, is sitting in Capricorn too. So the truth must come out. And we're finding that the truth is getting revealed in the most obscure, strange, bizarre sort of ways. You think that you can't see anything more radical than what you saw last week, and then bingo, along comes the bowling ball, knocks those pins out of the road and replaces it with something else. So can I suggest to everybody, just hold on to your hat. I think there's a lot more truth to come out politically around the world, and hopefully out of all this we're going to find some amazing answers, and maybe some of them might grow a brain or two when it's considering and leaning towards global warming. Maybe we might just get some people starting to take notice that the weather events around the world are a direct result of global warming, and we're all responsible to do something for that. So if you want to head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au, if you want to book a reading or purchase a candle there, if you type in the coupon box in capital letters radio, you will get a discount. We do offer free postage here in Australia, but for our overseas family, we can't do that. We offer a flat rate of postage. So I suggest if you want to buy a few things, save your pennies up and order them all in one go. And that way it makes the postage a little bit more cost effective. But we've had an absolutely fantastic show as always, and next week we'll be starting to look at famous actors in the astrological realm. So that'll be exciting. Even though we're sad to say goodbye to our singers, we're going to open the world up to famous actors next week, and that'll take us through well into next year with our famous actors, but starting with a male actor in Aries, and I wonder who I'll find for that next week. So be kind to each other until next week. Have a great week, and I hope wherever you are, keep smiling, be kind to each other, and don't forget, always open a car door, open a door, a big smile, say hello to people. That makes the world go round. There was a famous song written by the Beatles once, all you need is love. So I'll leave you with that thought. Bye for now.